Good morning, everyone. This is Director Bishotsky. We will start the meeting now. Welcome all of you. I am doing this remotely. I'm a little bit under the weather. Hopefully my voice holds up. So we call this meeting because as we were preparing, putting the final touches on the BMP program on the DWR side, we heard some additional comments from some ag stakeholders that perhaps there was another BMP we should be considering. And that BMP, as we'll see, is teed up in agenda item 2, an additional potential BMP for category 2 farm irrigation systems. Before we go further though, I'll turn it over to Maggie Martin from the DWR staff to go over the webinar logistics. Maggie, go ahead.
Thank you, Director. My name is Maggie Martin. I'm a management plan specialist here at ADWR, and I will quickly be going over the webinar logistics. Please remain muted unless you are speaking. If you would like to speak, please type your name into the chat, or if you prefer, you can type your comments and questions into the chat, and we will read those aloud instead. Please make sure to send your messages to everyone in the chat so that they do not get missed. If you have any technical difficulties throughout the meeting, you can contact the ADWR help desk. Their phone number and email are here on the screen. And lastly, this meeting and chat is being recorded today.
Thanks, Maggie. If you could advance the slide. You can advance it again to the agenda. So here's our agenda. We're in the welcome intros part of the agenda. Again, we are not intending for this meeting to be going back through all of the Ag BMP's points and all the things we've already agreed to. I just really want to consider this one additional BMP for the consideration of the committee, and we've been working with Chairman Riggins on this process and on the logistics and what we want to accomplish for this meeting. And he's going to go through item number 2 when we get there. Again, important to hear from all of you, especially if you have concerns or questions, but also would like to hear where you affirmatively support the proposal for this additional BMP. So before we start with that discussion, I'd like to turn it over quickly to Natalie Mast to do the usual quick review on our timeline and other important items we want to share with you. So Natalie has the slide up and I'll turn that over to her.
Thank you, Director. Hey everyone, my name is Natalie Mast. I'm the Active Management Areas Director responsible for the management plans. Before we get started here, I just wanted to provide a quick update on where we are with the 5th management plans as we're moving along in this timeline. So as many of you know, we've been working over the course of the last about 2 years to develop the 5th management plans. My team has been working over the course of the last year to actually write the concepts that we've been developing into those 5 5th management plans, into drafts for those plans. And we've published draft regulatory language for most of those programs on our 5th management plans concepts page. So in terms of that regulatory language, I would encourage you to check that 5th management plans concepts page for that specific language. After today's meeting, we will be updating the BMP language that we have available on that website. Moving forward, we do intend to publish full initial drafts of each of those 5 5th management plans at the beginning of next year. What we'll do at that time is take informal comments and we'll have discussions with the groundwater users advisory councils in each active management area and take additional comments from the GUACs, additional comments from the public, get recommendations from the GUACs.
If we have that, then we should have those
initial drafts. So those updated drafts will then be taken to hearing as a part of the legal promulgation process. And there is also a formal comment period during that promulgation process. So what I'm really trying to emphasize here is that while we're kind of nearing the end of this process and while we're finalizing a lot of things, there are still multiple opportunities throughout this process for input from the regulated community and from our various councils and committees. We do intend to adopt those plans by the end of next year, and that would make the conservation programs in those plans effective on January 1st, 2025. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and move into the next section of the agenda here. So the next section of the agenda, we will be going through the proposal for the adjustment to that BMP list. And if Chairman Scott Riggins is here, I think I see him in the corner there. I'll go ahead and hand things off to him for that discussion. Scott?
Good morning, Natalie. Yes, I am here, and also in my office with me is Noah Hiscox, another member of the BMP committee. I wanted to announce that because he's not on the attendance list, but he is here with me. Today, and I thank the department and Director Buchowski for his work in reestablishing a long-term BMP committee to review aspects of the BMP program. And we didn't expect this early that we would have one to discuss. I think it would be important to give a little bit of why we're here with this, so we understand the reason this came about and how it was handled. As we all know, there was a great deal of negotiations that took place, a lot of discussion, a lot of good in faith trying to understand problems on both sides that came to what I believe was a mutually beneficial for the state and the regulated ag community, irrigation best management programs to go into the 5th management plan. In that, there was discussion that went on for over a year. A lot of things happened. Some of it was a little bit confusing to some people that participated in it, because we made a decision, and which proved to be the correct decision, because we were asked by the department to trust them concerning the 4th management plan and the necessity to get it out the door. And then we would have the discussions with the 5th management plan, where nothing was baked into the cake by the 4th management plan. The department kept their promises and words on that, and we had a very substantive discussion and came up with a good program. The confusion that happened in that is that there were some people, some areas in particular, that lost sight of some of the things that were going on as it affected them, and got to the end. And even though that there was a great deal of discussion, even though there was a great deal of aspects and things, they actually got into a position to where the new system 2, as it was written, precluded their ability to get into the BMP program. They recognize that if it had been talked about in a timely basis, there possibly could have been a different outcome into the BMP that we all decided on. However, that BMP that we all decided on was a tapestry of many things woven together, and trying to take out one thread was not practical nor the thing to do in something that required the agreement of so many people. So in recognizing the problems of the group that found themselves in this, it was fully recognized that at this point in time, there was no such thing as doing a fix. You couldn't just go in and fix it. This is a BMP program. It relies on verifiable, technologically relevant practices to establish conservation and efficiency and make it worthy of addition into the BMP program. Fortunately, we believe that a fully technically relevant and efficient practice can be added into category 2 that reflects a enhanced burden upon those who choose to take it to demonstrate and provide that conservation and efficiency that's mandated in the BMP program. I suppose that it is not in any way necessary to speak in clouded terms of who the group basically is that requested this. This is the RID area up in the Phoenix AMA, are the ones that found themselves with the preponderance of their particular irrigation district in a position with the nature of the way they have done their improvements in a position where they no longer could get into the BMP and the 5th management plan. Now, indeed, it's also important to reflect that even with this new BMP that will go in for the 5th management plan, the RID people will not be able to get into the best management plan at all during the 4th management plan, which is for 2 years. This isn't anything that has anything to do with the 4th management plan. So they are not going to be able to be BMP participants for the next 2 years. So in that, there was a BMP in existence since the initiation of the BMP program that recognized that on uniform slope systems, very important, uniform slope systems. So these are improved systems that have as a part of them either a pump back system to reclaim the waters that come off the end and put it back into the system to reuse it, or have the nature of a district that is designed to take flows and redistribute them throughout the district without waste. That system was always there. With the 4th management plan, it fell from 2 points to 1.5 points. Ergo the problem at RID. During the negotiations and discussions and the fact finding and sitting with many participants during the BMP, the past BMP discussions and eventual potential adaptation of the 5th management plan BMP practices, there were many different discussions by practicers of irrigation in various areas that added things, and also discussions that made things more difficult to qualify in the BMP practices. One of them that came about in system 4, category 4, was the application of polyacrylamide as a practice to enhance water spreading, lacking or help to prevent erosion, various aspects that was recognized to greatly enhance irrigation efficiencies and conservation. Through the discussions with the department and the regulated community, eventually there was a new practice that was adapted. It was practice 4.10, which was the use of polyacrylamide in applied irrigation. It was a 1-point practice in category 4. Well, that practice applies just as well, and in fact is used mostly in these sloped sandy systems in the RID. And in fact, those are the folks that spoke of it to begin with and got it to where we all considered it and adopted it as something we felt was a good practice. In creating a new Category 2 systems practice, what has been proposed is that we combine that use of polyacrylamide with uniform slopes and either a pump back system for full recovery of tailwater or a systems-wide approach that demonstrably does the same thing on an irrigation district basis into a new Category 2 practice, which we're calling practice 2.6, which would now be worth 2 points. What is important to recognize in this is that at the same time, we are also taking anybody that uses BMP 2.6 to qualify in Category 2, and we are not allowing them to double dip, and we were removing the capacity of them to use BMP 4.10 if they use BMP 2.6. In essence, they're losing a half a point. However, they're also getting a half a point in the position that it takes for them to qualify at all. And I do believe that this proposed BMP 2.6 absolutely meets the mandate of a BMP practice that is demonstratively effective at greater conservation and greater efficiencies for those people that choose to use it as a practice. And with that, I'll turn it over for discussion with anybody that would like to get into it.
I'm not seeing any questions or comments in the chat, Chairman Riggins.
Okay, well, if there are no questions, either from the regulated community or other entities that have interest in this, or from the department, I would propose then at this point in time that the PMP committee voices their opinion on putting the new BMP 2.6 with its amendment to BMP 4.1 in our existing proposed BMP fifth management period program modifications. And I suppose, since I hear nobody standing up to do things quickly, I will ask, it seems as if we have an agreement on this, because I'm not hearing anybody saying anything that makes me think otherwise. We certainly can suggest to forward it to the director through consensus if no one wishes to speak to it. If anybody wishes to not have it go the consensus fashion, could anybody speak to that? There none being, Director Bachowski, I will, as chairman of the Agricultural BMP Committee, suggest to you at this time that the committee has decided to forward to you for your decision a new BMP 2.6 with its accompanying amendment of BMP 4.10 for placement in the BMP program for the fifth management plan.
So Chairman Riggins, thank you. And I'll just say this, in this virtual platform that we're living in still, I can't see, as I could in a room, people nodding their heads or nodding them up and down or nodding them back and forth. So having heard no negative comments, I will assume that the support on a consensus basis of the committee attaches to this proposal. I will, however, offer to post this proposal on our website or comment with a deadline, close of business Wednesday, September 8th. And again, I would love as much to hear positive support as much as I want to hear concerns raised with it. And hearing, if we do not hear concerns, I believe that this.
Hey, Tom, this is Dave Roberts.
Yeah,
From
Dave.
SRP. SRP supports this new BMP, and I'm surprised that RID, at least for the next 2 years, cannot qualify for the BMP program, since many of the farmers were in the BMP program previously. So we would support this so that those farmers can get back into the BMP program. Thank you.
Director Bushatsky, this is Patrick.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I would echo that of Mr. Roberts, and we don't have a problem at all with the new BMP. I think there is some concern, and I know that the fourth management plan has been baked, and I think that maybe the RID folks really need to look at the severity of the situation, but it may be worth the department maybe having discussions with RID to see, is there a solution or a bridge that we can help create so that we don't lose efficiencies out there? Not that I think we will, but if you have farmers going out of the BMP program for 2 years just to get back in, I mean, I don't know that it's going to be, it doesn't look good for conservation on paper.
So Patrick, I'm not sure of all the details of those in RID that have issue because of the fourth management plan or what the possibilities are for them, but I seem to understand that it is a very small number of farms. And Natalie, I don't know if you have information about what their options might be to take care of this, but I think those discussions between RID and DWR have occurred in terms of how to deal with that issue for the fourth management plan. So Natalie, do you have something to weigh in on there?
That's correct, Director. We've been working directly with some representatives from RID to kind of talk through options for the fourth management plan and figure out kind of the breadth of the issue there. So we'll continue having those discussions with RID.
And Natalie, is the current state of those discussions such that it appears that RID can live with that outcome based on some of the options that are being discussed?
Yeah, it appears that there can be some management related to flex credits and that type of interim. I would also like to note, put the link to the Ag BMP Advisory Committee webpage in the chat here. We will make sure that the link to the proposal here is updated there, and we'll provide information on how folks can provide comment on that webpage.
Thanks, Natalie. And Patrick, I'll just also say that the outcome working with RID is still going to be that the conservation and efficiencies that are attached to the BMP program will also attach to RID farms, however those options work out, as the statute kind of requires, well, as the statute contemplates, the BMP program and the base program are intended to be equivalent in terms of the ultimate outcome of conservation and efficiency, just with different pathways to get there. So we're not going to be losing any of the conservation and efficiencies inherent in the agricultural program.
No, I'm glad to hear that the conversations are occurring between that and RID. I think that it was just a combination of things, trying to get that fourth management plan out, and people not being quite as in tune as they should have. And so as long as we arrive at a spot that is again beneficial to both, I think that Mr. Riggins has accomplished that for the fifth management plan. I certainly just wanted to ensure that we could find a workable solution for the fourth. And it sounds like
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
And Director Kevin Rogers, I just also wanted to go on record that we support this, and we thank the chairman for working through this to come up with a solution, and it's meaningful and will make a difference. So I think it's a good step. And Natalie, I appreciate all your work behind the scenes to try to help make all this happen. So we're supportive.
Thanks, Kevin. Anyone else? I appreciate the comments. We will post that through the close of business on the 8th and put it to bed at that point in time. I do want to mention one more thing for the good of the order, so to speak. The Governor's Water Augmentation, Innovation, and Conservation Council is meeting September 16th at 10 a.m. virtually. We had a request from one of the members for a presentation on the Ag BMP program. I think that is a great opportunity in front of the council and in front of the public who attends to go through this program and have everyone understand, as I think Chairman Regan described it, that we ended up with a mutually beneficial program on behalf of the state for its water management requirements and on behalf of the agricultural stakeholders and community for what they are required to do, and so that they can successfully and economically run their businesses. I think it's a great opportunity to show that we put together an impactful program with that outcome, and also to tout the very collaborative nature in which that program was put together and the value of this agricultural BMP committee. So I just wanted to give a heads up that that's a likely agenda item. I don't think we've sent out the agenda yet, but you can expect that, to be one of the agenda items for that council meeting. So, Riggins, I'll turn it back to you if you have any other closing comments, and then I will close after that.
Thank you very much, Director Wachowski. Really, the only thing that I would like to mention at this point, on behalf of the BMP committee and also myself, is the thanks to the department for, and you, Director, specifically, for reopening this pathway that statutorily was going to close to reestablish a permanent BMP committee to be looking at these aspects and making suggestions to the director as we go forward in various water regulations in the AMAs. I think it's a absolutely critical component to bring together the regulated community that has decades of experience and the department to see how things actually work on the ground. And the next time the department ever wishes to come out and actually see how things work on the ground, we'll all be here to help take that forward again. But those thanks are there. I think this program, as we have gone through it today, shows how this works and its benefit. And thank the department. I'll close with that.
Thanks, Chairman Riggins. And I think the fact that this standing committee now exists is at least in one area best evidenced by this meeting. This issue came up. We were able to, I think, quickly and efficiently address it with the help of this committee and with your help, Mr. Chairman. And I think that says volumes about the value of the committee and the fact that it is there for us now and in the future. So with that, I will thank everyone again for their participation. And thank you again for working so diligently with us for us to meet our schedule. We know that we've talked about our schedule at every single meeting of this group and every other stakeholder group we've had for the fifth management plan. And I really appreciate all of the stakeholders and all of the groups who I think have demonstrated their commitment to helping us meet that schedule. So with that, I think we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you all very much.